Hello, you're welcome once again to another interesting episode of Inside Out, and this week we're talking emergency management. You would realize if you live in Nigeria, whatever part of Nigeria, that we've had a series of disasters, both natural and man-made. One of the things that comes to mind is that as Nigerians, we really do not know what to do. Because I realize you see a lot of people gather, a building collapses, they're not, everybody is running helter-skelter and trying to do the job. So we on Inside Out, we have decided that we're going to keep teaching, we're going to keep educating people on what to do when there's an emergency situation, the different kinds of emergency situations and how to handle them. And I have a panel with me that will do justice to this topic. He's the head of Department of Operations, Lagos State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. Please help me welcome Mr. Austin Chiwazo. You're welcome, sir. He's my friend, and I worry him. I call him when there is a problem, and he never, he works tirelessly. I don't think anyone realizes the kind of emergencies that happen in Lagos every day. In fact, being in that emergency unit of LASUS opened my eyes. Please help me welcome the General Manager, CEO, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Olufemi Okeosanyintolu. You're welcome once again to me. And then next to him is the Senior First Aid Instructor, Information Advisor, Lagos State Ex-Head Communications, National Headquarters of the Red Cross, Godwin Johnson Igeli. You're welcome to Inside Out. Okay, Dr. Osanyintolu, I'm going to be starting off with you. First of all, what is an emergency?
Well, emergency is something that you cannot handle. It occurs suddenly and it's a life-threatening issue. And you need to do something quickly so that it will not cost your life.
Can you tell me what are the most common emergencies you have seen doing the job you do?
Well, when you are talking about emergency, it could be classified into three groups, really.
Okay.
One, you'll be talking about the medical emergency, natural emergency, and man-made emergency. And in terms of emergency in Lagos State, you'll be talking about road traffic accidents, flooding, collapsed building, fire. Well, basically, those are the common emergency.
Yes. Mr. Austin, can you tell me, I've always wanted to ask you this, what is the Civil Defense Corps? How are you different from the regular security we find?
We are a government agency established through an act of parliament and charged with a responsibility that other security agencies are not statutorily charged to do, but are acting in complementary capacity.
You are the one charged with that responsibility, or you are the one acting with
of doing our mandate.
Which is what?
Now, our mandate involves a whole lot of things like PGC licensing.
What's PGC?
Training, private car companies. We also,
really?
We also do anti-vandalization activities. By that, I mean that all government, both federal, state, and local government infrastructures are maintained by us 24 hours.
As in for security?
Yes, including the oil pipelines, water pipelines, road networks, and things like that.
You are mandated to do all that?
Yes, like if I see you breaking a road beside your house, probably because you want to
lay a pipe.
Maybe lay a pipe for water.
So it's your duty to arrest me?
I will arrest you, certainly. Except
you have a permit.
You show me the permit. And that permit must also have
have you people
a condition.
Arrested anybody? I've never seen you on the road arresting people. We see them breaking the road.
Because you never cared to ask until now.
Okay, some other things. I'm shocked. I have never known, because I've always wondered, when I hear Civil Defense Corps, I'm like, what do they do?
The what really separates us from other
Yes,
security agencies is that we act with humility, transparency, and integrity in service delivery.
Mr. Godwin, you're welcome. Red Cross, we associate you with first aid and emergency situations, basically. How active are you on the ground here? And how easy is it for you to get to be part of emergency situations in the country?
Yes, you're right. Agatha, you are right. Red Cross, traditionally we are noted with first aid.
Yes.
Talk of Red Cross, talk about first aid. Discharging first aid to those who are victims of accidents.
Yes.
And victims maybe having bleeding and other things like that. Even right now, in all the 774 local governments all over the Federation, there is Red Cross presence. And we are more functional in Lagos. I can't say, because that's my constituency now.
You are in every local government
in Nigeria, including
Nigeria.
Lagos too. Yes.
Every local government.
Every local government we
have
have
an
a
office
presence.
in every local government, or how do you function?
We may not really have an office as in, because we don't really work in an office.
Yeah.
But then we have a contact address, maybe particularly maybe a local government, through the local government, or a building or a school where you contact us. But in every local government. But then we are present in every local government. We are there.
Really? That's new. Let's start with the most common emergencies we see on the road and how we can handle them. Before we go into the ones that we're expecting to go into as the rain starts. Accidents. You have just witnessed an accident, something has just occurred and somebody has either been knocked down, a car has turned over. What should be my first response? I'm in the car behind. What should be my first response?
Well, firstly, you have to know how we manage emergency in the state. Then you will know how to key in. First,
Okay.
in Nigeria and in West Africa and Africa, we have what we call the emergency call number. The emergency call number of Lagos State is 767 or 112. And the key thing in managing emergency is communication, effective and efficient communication.
Okay.
And when you are moving from that, which means in Lagos State we have a call center, and that call center is what we call cyber infrastructure in managing disaster in the state. So what we are saying in the essence that in our call center, because it's a cyber infrastructure, high technology, we have a database, a disaster database that tends to locate all streets. Now, the key thing about the call center has all the major stakeholders that are important in managing emergency in the state. In Lagos State today, classically, we have two groups of emergency responders or line professionals. These are the first responders. The first responders, when you are talking about first responders, these are the team that in any form of emergency, they will be notified and they have to get there first. When you are talking about this, we'll be talking about the fire services, the civil defense, the Red Cross, and you will be...
So they contact all of them simultaneously?
Yes, immediately. So when the call comes in, we inform the first responders. And when the first responders move in there, all these first responders knows their roles and responsibility. And each of these organizations, they have their internal dispatch protocol. For example, the protocol of civil defense is different from the protocol of the Red Cross. They have, when they are contacted in any form of emergency, they are going to activate their own internal dispatch protocol. Our own job as a LASEMA is just to coordinate. So in Lagos State, we have what we call cyber infrastructure in managing disaster in the state. They move in there. And again, there are two things that we realize in management of emergency in the state. Our management of emergency is community-based because we realize that all this emergency is to the grassroots. So the impact of any emergency is to the grassroots people. So all our chairmen of local government, they double as incident commanders, which means as incident commanders, they are in charge of their local government.
Let me understand. Let's say an accident has just happened at Anthony.
Yes.
And I've called 767
Yes.
or 112. And I said, please, I've just witnessed this very bad accident in Antony. So what happens is that call center.
Yeah. The call in goes into the call center.
Yes.
The call center has the incident commanders in there. The incident commander dispatch, activate the protocol, which we have each of these things has its own response plan. Each of the scenario has its own response plan. It activates its call. It informs the incident commander in that local government. It informs the chairman of that local government. That
How long does all this take? It sounds very long.
1 second. Pew. Because in Lagos State, we realize our challenges. And one way or the other, after realizing our challenges, then we look inward. How are we going to build our emergency in such a way that we'll be able to manage the golden hour? And the golden hour is the hour between life and death. We have resources. If you have resources, if it's not managed effectively and efficiently, all what you are talking about managing of emergency will be under zero. It would work. But so with that, we make sure that our emergency response is grassroots based. And we are not only stopping at that, we are moving emergency in such a way that it's going to be home based. What we mean by home base is that mothers are going to be incident commanders of our emergency. That is where we are going.
Are you serious?
Yes,
Okay,
that is where we are going. But where we are now, we are still at the local government. And from the local government, we are going to move to the ward. From the ward, we move to home. That is the key thing. That is the last phase of the way we'll be managing emergency in the state. But however, we have what we call first responders, and all our first responders, they have their roles and responsibility. We have the last reader, we have the civil defense, we have the LOMA. They are very important. We have school.
LOMA is important in emergency.
Yeah, LOMA is important because of the waste. The waste generated sometimes during an emergency, they have to take care of it. Because if they don't take care of the waste, it's going to be a vicious circle. There's going to be another epidemics that could occur. So we normally handle emergency management in the state holistically and in totality.
Let's take a break first of all. You're welcome back. We're still talking emergency management. We have, I'm very curious about this local, what did you call it? The
local emergency management committee.
Yes, the local, of which you're part of. How does it work?
Well, in civil defense, we have, like I said, a mandate to manage emergencies. And we have our own strategies. First and foremost, all organizations do not adapt the same strategy.
What's yours?
And strategies are as varied as the disaster itself.
Yeah.
Now, our first strategy is to sensitize and educate the people as per acceptable behavioral pattern during emergencies. For example, if there is a motor accident, what happens? If there is a chemical poisoning, what happens? If there is, let me not use fire outbreak, what happens? We will try to, our strategy is to try to get you informed, because like you rightly said initially, one of the biggest problems in emergency management in Nigeria is ignorance of the
people.
populace. So many people do not want to be their brother's keeper. And so even if some Nigerians see somebody dying, they keep walking. They feel maybe that is just a log of wood until it happens to them. But what emergency requires, as he rightly put it too, is effectiveness of information gathering and its dissemination. If, for example, as a primary responder, you did not let me know that there is an emergency, I may not be able to reach you.
So what do you require me to do to help you do your job?
get credible pieces of information to me as it happens as quickly
So
as
I call
possible.
the same number, 767.
If you call his number
Yes,
as a coordinating unit,
yes.
he will reach the primary respondents. And as soon as he gets
Are you
to-
also in all the local government areas?
Yes, even behind your house, I'm there.
Okay, so because you know why I'm asking, I'm not. I keep hearing about you, but we don't really know what your job description is.
Okay, let me tell you more about my job. The mandate I have says, one, I've told you about the private guard licensing,
Yes,
training,
yes,
supervising,
yes.
and monitoring. Two, I've also mentioned that disaster management is part of it. Three, we also carry out 24-hour surveillance and protection of all government infrastructure,
Yes, you
whether
told us
state,
that.
federal, or local.
Excuse me.
And we also exist to gather, collate, and analyze pieces of information. The ones we can use, we use.
So
the ones that are not applicable to
in
us,
an
we-
emergency situation,
Yeah.
what is your primary function?
My primary function is to save lives there and
So
salvage
do you do
as
things?
much.
Would you do the same thing a doctor would do or Red Cross would do? No.
That man you see over there is
Him.
Dr. Damian.
Dr. Damien, hello.
That he wears red is a sign that he is already trained in first aid.
I see. Okay,
activities.
that's what this red means. But do you have one
Not
of them
the
at
red,
every unit?
this, the red cap.
Beret.
Oh, red cap.
But by training, he's a medical doctor.
Okay. But do you always have medical doctors at all your primary?
Responders. What we mean by primary responders, really, in conjunction with my gentleman was saying, is that they are teach for basic life support. There's a training that we call basic life support. After you might finish the basic life support, then you move to advanced life support. All our primary responders are
So
trained.
that's okay. Let me understand. All your primary responders are supposed to jump start before you come in.
That is it.
Yes, that is it.
Okay.
And they are trained to perform
Basic
life support.
Now I'm
And what we mean
understanding.
by basic life support is that they can handle basic things to save life before the ambulances move.
Get there.
If there is an accident, for example, and there's a victim, I, as a civil defender, will first want, if I get to that scene, get the guy rescued out. I want to find out whether he is still breathing. If he is not, I will then utilize my first aid training to clear the air pipe. At least let him
To
get.
see if you can resuscitate him.
Yes.
Then from there, I get the necessary information to the
ambulance team.
ambulance.
So
team.
as they are coming, they have
Yes, they have
information
the
about
Which
what the
means,
situation on the
which
ground is.
means they could have performed what we call CPR.
Okay.
All our first responders knows how to perform CPR, which means they know how to save life within a shortest time. And what are the CPR? Maintain the circulation, maintain the pulse, and maintain the respiratory rate. They are all trained in basic life support training. And this was done by LASEMA, which is the coordinating agency.
Wow. Okay. Let me talk to you, Mr. Godwin. As a Red Cross, you said you also exist in every local government. You are part of the primary responders.
Exactly.
Yes. So what do you do when you get a call?
Apart from what they have said, one basic thing we do in Red Cross, because you asked the question the other time, if your car is behind an accident, what do you do? We try to make every Nigerian a first aider. Not necessarily that before even the first responders come, those who are around, what do you do?
Yes.
That is what we do in Red Cross too. We actually create awareness on first aid to people. We train, that's why we are in schools.
So you train people
We train
on
people
basic first
on
aid.
basic first aid. That's what I'm trying to say. And your basic first aid, of course, includes the CPR. how to stop bleeding when there's bleeding. Like, let me tell you, people actually die when there's accidents because they lose too much blood before they get to the hospital. So what we do is that we teach people, not necessarily our own personal this time around, how do you stop bleeding? Don't just start pouring water on somebody who is bleeding. Like, I just want to slightly differ from the opinion of my operation. You understand that Nigerians actually, when they're like, they don't actually care. I think I would say they care.
But they don't know what to do.
But they don't know what to do. That's actually what I'm saying. So what we actually do is that to make them know the right thing to do. So don't be a first killer, but be a first killer. There's a bleeding, there's a way you can manage bleeding to stop bleeding, to arrest the bleeding. Before even we come to the scene to assist, and before the second responder come to the scene to assist.
What we mean by first responders, technically, they are the first line professional people that need to be
there.
seen.
Yes, I get
Those
that.
on the field.
Those days that when there's a fire, you will only see the fire people being there. They are rushing in there. Who is going to control the traffic? Why the people who are working? If there's any injury, if there's victims, who is going to take care of the victims?
So you have a complete unit.
You have a complete unit, any
that
kind of emergency, and all the organizations have their roles and responsibilities. That okay, when you get to the emergency scene, this is what you're supposed to do. We don't need to get there and start saying you know that as a Red Cross person, you have to line up with the medical people, checking people, counting the number of victims, counting the number of vehicles that were involved. That is your work. The civil defense knows that, oh, they need to maintain the traffic, they need to maintain the crowd, because crowds. But one way or the other, we can change our role if need be. If we need more people from the civil defense, that, oh, doctor, come and assist us. Despite the fact that he can control the traffic, he can perform a basic life support training.
Let me take Lagos State and what I see as impending disasters. Let me say, for instance, there's an area, I live in an area, and I can see that, look, rainy season is about to start. There's a canal. The canal is full of rubbish. And I know that once we have heavy rain, we are going to all be flooded. Is that an impending disaster?
It is.
It is.
So
Let me
if
tell
that
you,
is an
the one that
impending
happened,
disaster, yes.
the one that happened before, if there is a heavy rain, civil defense operatives do not stay inside. What we do is to maintain surveillance. What happened on Third Mainland Bridge the other time is because we lack enough mobility. As the rain is falling, we are moving in, checking where poles have fallen, you shift them. Where tree branches have fallen, you move them. You understand what I'm saying? The idea is to reduce exposure that could lead to disaster.
Okay.
Okay. One thing that you need to know before any disaster comes in, there's what we call early warning. We are now begging our people to pick up that early warning so that we will nip everything on the board as quickly as possible. If you hear sound, if you notice something that's not working properly, in Lagos State, for crying out loud, we have a structure that never fails. And what you just need to do is to key into that structure. Knock, it will be open.
Like the case that happened somewhere, we went to arrest some oil pipeline vandals. And it was discovered that some Nigerians, and Lagosians for that matter, very greedy and stubborn set of people, went and built a house on top of the pipeline. And then
Isn't it marked when there is a pipeline? Do people know that there's a pipeline there? It is marked.
And then they will now build, and not only building, fence the compound, and then dig a well.
They have an intention.
Oh!
Because they have an intention. They will now dig a well
Inside
and puncture the oil pipeline and extend a pipeline into their own house. And whenever some
is
dubious
dangerous.
insiders too at the NNPC or whatever are pumping, they will inform them. They will now start siphoning. They will not understand that
That is a
that
disaster
is a very high
waiting to
risk
happen.
something. I'm sure if you are conversant with watching civil defense activities, you must have seen houses like that. In fact, there was one in this estate where a
So those are the kind of things one should look out for, because if there's anyone in your area, you're just as liable to.
please
That's
do
it.
look out for it and inform us.
And inform us.
Wow.
So, assuming something just happened,
If somebody just
and
lights a match in that
and
area,
matches,
all the
the
houses
whole
will go.
estate
Yeah.
will be in trouble. We got them arrested, and we also reported appropriately.
But has it been stopped?
Yes, the NNPC sent people there to remove the worn-out pipelines and relay
replace
new
them.
ones.
You're welcome back. We're still talking about emergency management. I'm using Lagos State as our case study. I think, well, I have to say this though. Lagos State has done better than any other state I know.
I think yes.
I'm sure we can all agree with that. First of all, I was very shocked to find out that on a national level, only Lagos State has emergency numbers. That is a disgrace. That if you find yourself in another state or on the express, you don't have an emergency number to call.
Not only do you have emergency number, we have a policy. Any victims of emergency for the first 24 hours will be treated free of charge. We will provide drugs, we will do X-ray, all the basic life-saving something will be done. But after 24 hours, if you don't have relatives to take care of you, Lagos State will definitely take care of you.
We also treat people. There are so many emergencies that they don't know of because they are not really emergencies. Maybe those that involve 1 or 2 people.
Where's yours?
You understand?
Where's your own emergency place? I know of his.
No. When you get to our office at Alausa here, just by the secretariat, ID card complex. When you get in there, we do move around. I told him that we do move around in our ambulance, and we carry accident victims to our place, treat them still free of charge, and when they are reasonably okay, we allow them to go. That is why I said...
Sorry, this man here, who is he?
He's a private person. He works on his own, but as a Red Cross member, he's a volunteer.
Okay, so he is a volunteer. He works on his own.
He has been trained.
But he has been trained by you.
As emergency first
So
aider.
if there is an emergency,
He knows what to do.
and he's anywhere around it, does he qualify as an authorized personnel for
He
Red
is
Cross?
satisfied to operate.
So as an individual, can I decide to go for your training?
Yes.
And
That's
so I can become a
That's why I said at
volunteer?
the beginning that even our intention is to train every Nigerian, if it's possible, and in basic first aid.
You see,
So it doesn't stop you from doing. It's like the private road people.
Yes.
Who when there's traffic, just jump down from their
In
cars.
fact,
when
we
they
are even doing what we call the School Emergency Management Committee. In school, we believe that we should catch them young. So in school now, there have been all this basic life support training. We are going to teach everybody.
I think that you should also, because there is need for collaborative training
Yes, which we've
to
been
be
doing.
given to all, both the coordinating units and the operatives of the first responders.
We are doing that.
Because somewhere, somehow, you see at the scene of emergency, those that are supposed to be rescuing and saving life will start to exhibit complex issues,
Rivalry and things like
rivalry and so on.
Those
Are
are.
you
that. I
serious?
think we see this.
Yes.
We continue
So
to
there
do
is need.
You see,
for
that-
an improved
That is why
Cooperation.
in Lagos State today,
But he's in Lagos State.
Lagos-
yes, it's part of us,
Lagos
is
is
our
one-
stakeholder.
Yes.
You see, that is why right now
We have quarreled
where we are.
Two of you have quarreled today.
Yes,
Tell
we have
us,
quarreled
tell us
today.
what.
The
Tell us
G's.
what Dr. Saito will do.
Yes.
Let's join you. You know, because Dr. Saito will come.
No, because there is need for agencies
to
to
work
recognize
together.
each other and collaborate well. His own is to pool resources and the needed technology and deploy to primary respondents as and when needed. I must confess, I've not had such logistical support from him. But I think after this quarrel of today, I hope that the
Dr. Saito,
situation will change.
When you excuse me please, when you enter a place, a community, would you see the head of that community? He came into my community, Lagos State. He has never paid courtesy visits to Lasema.
But
This is an organization. This is an organization.
That is what he has said is a statement. What he has said is a statement of fact.
This is an organization. Excuse me, please. This is the organization.
So the issue is closed.
That is it.
Exactly.
That is simple. This is an organization that coordinates it's the point of entry of emergency management in Lagos State. This is an organization that works with the stakeholder. Lasema does not work alone.
Yes.
No, if I want to shake, I shake with my first responders. Who are my first responders? Who makes things work? The civil defense, the fire services, the ambulance services, the Red Cross. These are my responders.
Okay. I first of all want to commend you. You're really convincing. Yeah. But I also want to say something. Since not all your correspondents, stakeholders are here present, I want to say something to you because you deal with them directly. Now, when we have emergencies in Lagos, for instance, one of the challenges that I see, because sometimes I always even feel like coming down to assist is, for instance, there's an accident somewhere. What I expect, if I'm wrong, correct me, that, for instance, your stakeholder like LASMA should do is to ensure that, I'm not sure about the dimension, maybe 100 meters or 10 meters. That's where they should start stopping the traffic. But you find out that they ignore, so people are already building up, coming to where the accident is actually happening, before they now realize that, okay, an accident has actually happened, so we cannot move. Meanwhile, there are other roads that they can divert people to. So before you know it, there's a pile of traffic. And what we're just trying to say is that we're trying to avoid. So we've had a scenario, and I struggle to remember the year where this happened, but I couldn't, where it was actually a fuel tank, a tanker fuel that actually had issues. And so what happened was, as people were building up, it was just taking up all the cars. But if the LASMA, for instance, who I believe that's their job,
as the cars were coming, was burned.
They were all burning. I'm trying to remember it. I know it's on this Ikorodu road. I can't remember the year, but I really struggled. So what I would presume LASMA should do in such situation is, why some of them are there attending to their diversions. In fact, for me, I even believe that sometimes in such situations, then they can break the protocol of the BRT lane just to allow people go out of that environment where those crises are. Because like we said, emergency is something that we don't foresee. It just happened. That's just my suggestion to you, to put it across to them.
I think we are getting there.
Okay.
The special nature of Lagos makes it even difficult for primary respondents to get to the scene sometimes. If an accident happens on a place like Third Mainland Bridge, within 5 minutes, the whole place will be jam-packed. And even the rescuers that are coming in will find it difficult to get there. But why did I say we are coming up? At least now, the police is having a helicopter. With time, they can afford to do one.
We have.
So that the location we cannot
you have a helicopter.
Definitely
move with road.
They are all
right.
you.
We'll be able to
all right,
drop some
okay.
people.
And
see, let me tell you.
Usually, the civil defense comes in to control traffic and cordon off the area and ensure that the scene is made reasonably safe for rescue operation to take place. Otherwise, I cannot send in my operative to go in there and become one of the victims. I will first ensure that the man going in is properly protected before he can go to save the other person.
Well, in addition, let me give it to you. We keep on trying to emphasize how we manage emergency in the States. It is a cyber infrastructure way of managing emergency. What people need to change their behavior. Press people are one of our primary responders. When something happens, we inform the press. The press normally disseminates information that on this so area there is this accident, and we expected people to divert. And that is why in Lagos State today, in trying to prepare for emergency, all our streets are numbered. You can see the signboard. That is the purpose. Not only that, we have the GIS that tells you the road mapping in Lagos State. while our press are informing people that, oh, at Oyibo there is so accident, it is expected of you to move away from that area. So we want our people now to change their attitude. When our press are informing you that, oh, Oyibo is blocked because of so thing, you need to divert your distance. We are all managers of emergency.
What is the responsibility of an ordinary Nigerian in the case of emergency? When, okay, something happened and I'm here, what should I do immediately?
Please move out of that to a safe area. Otherwise, you yourself that is within that place could become a victim and increase the problem I am already facing.
I've been able to be watching international channels, and whenever there is any disaster, in the developed world, the first people that we see on ground are these Red Cross people. But that has not been intensified in this country. I just want to implore you, please, to add to your efforts. And I've been having it in mind all this while that I would love to join Red Cross because I like savaging life. What can I do to be a member, and what can it cost me?
Red Cross, actually, we are the first to get to any scene of any accident. And the reason is simple, because if you look at the next house to your house, it's likely you find the Red Cross member living there. Like I said, we exist in all the local governments, even in Lagos, we are everywhere. So once we get the response, the directive from them to our office, next thing is to get the local government to go to the scene. So we're always there. It's always there. If we look at the media very well, the TV, JOS, can do not even use Boko Haram, you see Red Cross members getting there to do their role even before other people get in there. It might not be possible for us to get there in Lagos because of like chaotic traffic situations sometimes and things like that. But then we are trying. But then we'll take notes of the observation.
So how do you become a Red Cross volunteer?
You want to join the Red Cross? It's very simple. It doesn't cost you anything. Just like any other club, pick the form, fill it. We train you for stage. I'll give you the number of the secretary. Just call this number. It's our hotline, but then it's Zain 080-2331-0969. 080-2331-0969. Call this number, definitely there's somebody to pick it and answer you. Not only on membership, any accident or anything at all, call this number, they always respond to you. 080-2331-0969.
You mentioned that one of your area is to arrest these oil buccaneers,
yes,
of Fandali. Now, if I look at you, since I've been knowing you, I have never seen you with any weapon. You are going to meet a criminal who may be with guns. Policemen, soldiers too that even have guns find it difficult at times. Now you will alone go without all these things, and you feel you can. How can that be possible?
The mandate establishing my organization charged with the responsibility of protecting oil pipelines. Now, I want you to understand that...
Are you allowed to carry arms?
Apart from the fact that the arms is already down, I'm already trained and I've acquired it. Very soon you will start seeing it. But I want you to understand that superior strategy works better than firearms. It is even risky for me to confront a vandal with firearms on the pipeline because it could ignite fire. So what I do is to apply other techniques to get them apprehended, even with their firearms.
So I really commend you for your work that you're doing. But what I would just plead to the Lagosians too is that we should try and be having patience with these people. Those things they are doing, it's not a day job that they will do that will still result at the same time. We need to help them along, having patience. At times, we know traffic in Lagos is very hectic, but let's have patience and let's also help them because they can't do this job alone. They are also working. We too will have to work with them hand in hand. So we have to give them an effective work and their work will come out fine.
In Lagos State today, we have what we call Safety Commission. The Safety Commission deals with all these containers, articulated vehicles, deals with anything to prevent, mitigate any form of disaster. And we've passed a law that all these articulated vehicles, they have time, they have a movement time, really. So, and we are still working on that in terms of to provide a safe environment. And that is why one of my primary responder today is the Safety Commission, because safety of life and properties is paramount to this government.
All right, a very big thank you to you. I think we have learned a lot, but most of all, I think what we should take away from here is if there's any emergency or before, if you notice an impending
Disaster.
emergency or disaster situation, call 112 or 767.
And if there's any form of complications, we are professionals in managing complications. We will sort it out.
Okay, last line, sir, Mr. Austin. Something you want the viewers to remember or to know as they are watching this about civil defense, something you want them to take away.
I want them to understand that civil defense is like the small but mighty warrior that acts to protect your interests, protect your life, and protect your means of livelihood without fear or favor, and with humility, integrity, and transparency.
Your number, if they need
080 77424803.
Safety is everybody's business. We may be professionals in responding to emergencies and disasters. It actually starts with you. That is why we are calling up you to get trained in first aid, so that you can respond to when there are disasters and when there's emergency. Get trained. It's not something difficult. It doesn't disturb your work. It doesn't disturb anything on other thing. And Red Cross actually make this possible. I've given you a number to call the other time. I'm making it again. 080-2331-0969. And again, we come to the social network. You can contact us on Facebook. Just put the Red Cross there. You see us. We reach out to people every day on safety and first aid. Okay. Thank you very much.
Doctor, thank you.
The key theme here is that safety of life and properties is paramount to this administration. For you to have effective, efficient management of emergency or disaster in the state, we need to key in by calling our emergency number, which is toll-free 767 or 112. LASEMA, in conjunction with its stakeholder, will be right there. We manage the golden hour, which is hour between life and death. Thank you very much.
Very interesting. Thank you very much. Really, it has been an education as well. I want to thank you for coming to educate us on this, especially as the rains are coming and all those things that might cause an obstacle, canals and all of that. All of us need to be vigilant. I think that is the message here. And more than that, because several people asked the question even after you said it, if you do not have a knowledge of first aid, move away so you don't become part of the problem. What you do when you notice an emergency is to call the two numbers, 767-112. And thank you, Dr. Osayi-Tolu. Thank you, Mr. Austin, and thank you, Mr. Godwin. Thank you to Lagos State Government, again, for being proactive. And I'm hoping that other states will do what you do, because the fact that we can call, for those of us who are not knowledgeable about what to do, is a big plus, and it will really help save lives. If you have any questions, comments, or observations, please get in touch with us at insideoutwithagatha@yahoo.com or www.facebook.com/insideoutwithagatha, or you can go to our website, which is insideoutwithagatha, insideoutmedia.tv, www.insideoutmedia.tv. A special thank you to Voltic Water for the water, Accord for my hair, Flawless Touch for my makeover and my makeup, and then Kelu and her team for my styling. Until next week, when we come again talking about something else equally as interesting, bye-bye and see you next week. Thank you.